Hi, grade 9s. Today is the Unit 5, Day 3 lesson, and we're going to look at how to find the equation of a line. We're going to be doing that algebraically, but first we want to review how we can find the equation of a line from a graph and from a table. We know that the equation of the line, you guys have looked at this, the standard form is y equals mx plus b. And we know that the m is our slope and the b is our y-intercept. So the steps in finding the equation are always going to be the same, but we'll just be doing them differently. The first step we're going to do is to find the slope. And there's different ways we're going to do that, but whatever we do, we always want to find the slope. The second step is to find the y-intercept. And the third step is going to be to write the equation. Okay, so we're going to go through those three steps for both the graph here and the table below. Now, when we're finding slope from a graph, remember we have to find the rise and the run. And we need to do that between 2 points that are definitely whole number points. You don't want to be estimating any points maybe in between some whole number values. So I'm going to use this point here. Let's see if I can make it dark enough. And this point here. And I'm going to find the rise and run between those 2 points using my rate triangle. So I'm going to draw in this triangle where I label my rise and my run. Okay, the first one, the rise in the y direction, I'm going from a y value of 30 up to a y value of 40. And we all know that that would be 10. But how we would show our work for that is the second y value minus the first. So I have a rise of 10. And in the x direction, or the horizontal direction here for run, I'm going from an x value of 2 to an x value of 6. Remember, it's not the number of squares necessarily, it's the numbers on your scale. So we know that that's counting over by 4, but we could do 6 minus 2 to show the x2 minus x1 to show how we got our 4. Okay. So that's kind of my general steps. I'll box that in. So I know here the slope is equal to the rise over the run. And I know my rise is 10 and my run is 4. So I'm going to put this as 10 over 4, and I'll reduce that into lowest terms as a fraction 5 over 2. So that's my first step done. I found my slope. The next step is to find the y-intercept. And from a graph, that's usually pretty easy. So from this graph, I know that my y-intercept would be the point, the starting value, the one that's on the y-axis, and that's a y-intercept of 25. So my first step is to find the slope, my second step is to find the y-intercept, and the last step is to write the equation. So I know that the equation of this line is y equals mx plus b, and 5 over 2 is my m, or my slope, and 25 is my b. So that's the equation of my line from the graph. Okay, we're going to do the same thing from the table here. And we're just going to do the same steps. We're going to find the slope and we're going to find the y-intercept, and then we're going to write the equation, but we do it a different way depending what information we're given. So my slope, remember how we labeled a delta y or rise on the right-hand side, and we had a delta x or run on the left-hand side of my table. So I can use any points on this table, and I do see that it's following a linear pattern because as my x values go up by a constant amount, so do my y values. I see a plus 5, plus 5, plus 5 pattern there. So I will use these two, and I'll say that my rise here is 13 minus 8, which is 5. And my run is 20 minus 10. Remember always the lower one minus the one above, which is 10. So I have a rise of 5 and a run of 10. So I will write out slope equals rise over run, which is 5 over 10, and reduce it to lowest terms is 1/2. Okay. I don't have my y-intercept quite so easily here. Sometimes your y-intercept will be really easy to see from a table if you've got an x value in the first column where you have a 0, but I don't here. So we're going to have to pattern this back, and I'll see that I've got a decreasing if I move upwards. So I have 40, 30, 20, 10. You guys can probably see that the next number in that pattern, if I had another row above that, that I'm going minus 10, minus 10, minus 10, and the next one here would be 0. So I'm going to pattern back this column as well, and I see minus 5, minus 5, minus 5. So I'm going to pattern this back with a minus 5, and 8 minus 5, that would have a y-intercept of 3. So I'll just write that down. The y-intercept is 3. So if I have a slope of 1/2, that was my step 1, a y-intercept of 3, that's my step 2, then I'm going to write my equation. Y equals m, which is 1/2, times x, plus b, which is my y-intercept of 3. And that's how I get my equation from a table.